Yo, what's good, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Spencer Sports UFC card breakdown. And today we're breaking down the February 20th card. So basically, I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to try to make these videos a little bit shorter. A lot of these gurus spend like hours making these videos, and it's just too much to watch sometimes, I think. So I'm going to give you guys like a short breakdown on here, just kind of run through them, give you my picks, and who I think is going to win and why. And if you want a more in-depth breakdown, come over to the Patreon, check it out. And there you'll get my exact bets too and all that good stuff. But for now, let's just get into it and start breaking these fights down. I don't know if you guys heard, but we did lose a fight today. That's why I waited till the weigh-ins, because I knew we were going to lose some fights. There might be more. Hopefully not, but so far there's one fight out. And it's one I actually really liked the underdog in. I had a big play on him, but now it's scratched, which kind of sucks. But Pat Sabatini versus Rafael Alves, or shit, I don't even remember his name. But yeah, Alves came in 11 pounds overweight, which is just unheard of and ridiculous. But yeah, I thought he was going to lose anyway. Even more sure he's going to lose after that, even though he's 11 pounds overweight. But, that fight's off, so... kind of sucks there. I lost the bet, but we'll find other ways to redistribute that money and make some money. So, all right, let's just jump into it. First fight of the night. Looks like we got Sergey Spivak versus Jared Bandera. This one pretty cut and dry. Jared Bandera is big dude. Not a guy I'm really high on though. He's very slow and plodding. He doesn't really move too well. He has a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but what's a black belt these days? Everybody has a freaking black belt. I mean, Sergey Spivak, I think, does have the ground advantage, the grappling advantage, the submission advantage. I think that if he gets on top, Bandera is probably going to get submitted. But Bandera is the bigger guy, and he does have good top control himself and good grappling game. So the way I see this playing out is that, Sergey is going to be much faster on the feet. I think he's going to piece Bandera up on the feet, and I think Bandera is going to look to try to clinch and take him down. And I think that's possible, but Sergey has pretty good takedown defense, and even if it does get to the ground, I kind of like Sergey to scramble and get on top and probably submit Bandera. So I'm going to go with Sergey Spivak in this one. Pretty confident in it, but it's only Bandera's second fight in the UFC. But he didn't look good on Contender Series. He didn't look good in his first UFC fight, even though he won the Contender Series. He didn't look great, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with Spivak here. I wouldn't say it's a parlay piece, but pretty confident that Spivak's gonna get this one done here. All right, next fight we got Ayman Zahabi versus Draco Rodriguez. And so this one, Zahabi's looked terrible in his, last two UFC fights. Rodriguez, kind of an unknown guy, got a lot of hype though. He's a ground guy, right? He's a grappler. He's a submission specialist. That's where most of his wins come from. And I think that's probably going to be what happens here. But man, with that last card with Rodolfo, being the submission guy, doesn't really have a striking game, doesn't have a stand-up game. He got his ass kicked, right? He couldn't get that submission. He got his ass handed to him by Fluffy Hernandez. I feel like a similar situation could play out here. There isn't a lot of tape on Draco Rodriguez's striking. Well, I should say it hasn't been proven in fights too much because he doesn't look to use it. He just takes it to the ground and he gets submissions. I do think Draco is a really good grappler. I think that he has great jiu-jitsu. I think that he definitely has the advantage on Zahabi there. But Zahabi will have the striking advantage in this one, I'm pretty sure, guys. So this is a little bit of a tricky spot. And if you trust Draco to get it to the ground and submit him, I think that's probably the most likely outcome. But then again, I thought that was the most likely outcome in the Rodolfo fight too. This is another one where I'm a little bit sketched out. I am high on Draco. I think that he probably does come in here and get this one done. But there's just a big question mark around his striking. It's like we haven't seen enough to really judge it, and he hasn't really had to use it, as much as you would think he has to. And it's just one where I think it's a stay away. I think it's a sketchy spot a little bit. but Zahabi doesn't look good, and I do think Draco comes in here and gets this one done. I think he's the better fighter. He's going to out-grapple him. He's going to submit him. So that's my pick. I'm going with Draco by submission, but as far as a parlay piece, I'd probably leave him off your parlays. All right, next we got Chase Skelly versus Jamal Evers. This is an interesting one. I really do like Chase Skelly. I think that he's a good fighter. I think that he, has a decent ground game, a decent jiu-jitsu, submission game. But Jamal Evers is a beast, dude. And Jamal Evers, I just think it's going to be too much. The pressure is going to be too much. The top control is going to be too much. I think this one's Jamal Evers all day. I do like Chase Skelly. He's not going to be a pushover, and it's probably going to be a little bit closer than the line indicates here. But I do think Jamal Evers is going to go in there and outpace him, outvalue him, and get this one done. So I'm going to go with Jamal Evers. I'm pretty confident in it. As far as a parlay piece, maybe you could throw him in some parlays, but I wouldn't throw him in the big one. I wouldn't throw him in the, half the cash one because, anything can happen. And Chase Skelly is a good fighter. He's 18-3. Evers is 18-5. A plus 200 underdog. I don't know about that, but Evers should get this one done. So I'm going Jamal Evers on that. All right, next we got Shauna Dobson versus Casey O'Neill. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this one. Casey O'Neill making her UFC debut. She's a prospect. I think that she's a decent fighter from what we've seen, but she's beaten a lot of bums. She hasn't fought any real competition. Dobson's coming off that major plus 800 upset against, who was it? Maria Agapova. That was just absurd. I mean, God, what a ridiculous fight. But, she's 4-4. She's not a high-level fighter. That was more of a Agapova gassed out, got too cocky, thought she was going to go in there and, handle Dobson. And Dobson's a strong girl. I mean, she is. And if you tire her out against her, she's going to put you away. And that's what she did. But, I think Casey O'Neill's going to be too sharp for her. She's going to expect Dobson to fight like a dog. Yeah, I don't think you can pick Dobson in this spot, especially at plus 130. I just don't think that's a good bet. So I think this one's O'Neill or pass, quite frankly, and I do think O'Neill gets this one done, so I'm going to go Casey O'Neill. Pretty confident in that one. All right, next we got Julian Rosa versus Nate Landwehr. This one is a little perplexing to me. Julian Rosa's coming off that big upset against Sean Woodson, but man, and I get that's probably why the line is so close here. And Rosa is live. He's got decent jiu-jitsu. He's got good wrestling, but doesn't have a great chin. Landwehr is durable as hell. I mean, dude could get hit with a freaking sledgehammer. I mean, other than a Herbert Burns knee to the face. But, Landwehr's very, very durable. And I think that he's got a lot of volume. He fights hard. He's going to fight for your money. I think this is a spot where Landwehr goes in there and gets it done pretty easily. I'm a little shocked the line's so close. I'd put Landwehr more at around 180, 200 minus odds. So, this is a pretty easy one for me. I think Nate Landwehr's going to go in there and just volume him up. It might be, I don't think it'll be a split decision, but it'll be a 29-28 probably. Give me Landwehr in this one. I think this one actually is a fine parlay piece, honestly, and at these odds, it's good for a straight bet too. So, definitely would recommend Landwehr. I think that's a pretty solid pick there. All right, next fight we got Eddie Wineland, John Castaneda. This is a tough one for me. I mean, point blank simple, I don't think either of these guys are very good. I think that Eddie Wineland is, he's the more veteran guy here. He's fought more. But yeah, I just don't see it for him. I think that John Castaneda is going to go in there and get this one done. But this is a fight I'm totally staying away from. I don't have any interest in it. I don't trust either of these guys with money. So, yeah, I just stay away from this one, guys. There's, 14 fights now on this card. There was 15, but now there's 14. That's a lot of fights, guys. You don't need to waste your money on this one. Just sit back, watch this one. It's going to be close. Either guy could win, but I'm going to go John Castaneda just for the sake of picking a winner. But yeah, stay away from this one, y'all. All right, Jakar Close versus Luis Pena, and this is one I really want to touch on. I think Jakar Close is going to be a really good parlay piece this week. I think that he's going to get this one done versus Pena pretty easy. Pena's a gatekeeper kind of guy. He's long, lanky, he's got good grappling, and he could easily get your back and submit you, whatever, but he's a gatekeeper. He's not really a high-level fighter, and we saw this in his last fight, too. I forget who he fought, but he lost, and it was kind of ugly, and he was a big favorite. He was a chalky, like, minus 400 favorite, right, or something. It's ridiculous. I don't think the guy's that good, and I think Jakar Close is that good. I think he is really good. He fought a tough fight against Beneil Dariush, and he was actually beating Dariush until he got a little too cocky when he rocked Dariush, and he tried to go in, and then Dariush caught him almost and did knocked him out bad. But yeah, this one, like I said, I'm not going to dive into it too much here. I'm just going to try to make these videos a little bit quicker, especially with 14 fights. So I'm just going to say Jakar Close, I like him a lot. Definitely will have plays on him. I think he's a fine parlay piece. Yeah, don't read into the length and reach of Pena too much. We saw that with Phil Rowe recently. We saw that with Antonio Arroyo recently. These guys with these huge, like, gargantuan reach and height advantages, it doesn't tell the whole story. I know that matters a little bit, but it doesn't tell the whole story, and here's a great example of that. Don't read into it too much. Jakar Close is a much better fighter, and he's going to win this one pretty easily. So go with Jakar Close. That's all I'm saying. All right. Next, Jared Gordon, Danny Chavez. Another one that's a little bit closer than I would have expected. Jared Gordon, he's a good fighter. Got good striking, got decent grappling. He's a good all-around fighter, right? But man, that chin. He's got 4 losses all by knockout, guys. That chin is not there. And let me tell you something. Danny Chavez cracks. This man cracks. And I fully expect him to, kick that calf of Jared Gordon, get Jared Gordon hurting, screw up his mobility a little bit, and then he's going to land a knockout. He came out and said that he wants to knock him out too, and I think he does. I think he comes in here and he knocks out Jared Flash Gordon. I don't know, first or second round. I don't think it's going to go too long, and I think Chavez should be a minus 200 here. I know their records are close. 11-3 for Chavez, 16-4 for Gordon. I mean, you could say Gordon has the better percentage there, but nah, man. This one's Danny Chavez all day. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about it. Danny Chavez, I think he's a fine parlay piece, as well as Jakar Close. So you can start, building that based off what I say, but definitely check out the Patreon if you want, like, my exact plays and who I think is going to make you the best, give you the most bang for your buck this weekend. All right, next fight, we're going to move on to Andrei Arlovski versus Tom Aspinall. Man, this is another one. It's like I feel like Aspinall should be a minus 400 plus, I don't know why everybody thinks Arlovski's going to come in here and do another thing like he did with Boser and, just stand there and wait for Boser and then land one shot every round that not rocks Boser and then gets a crazy decision while being outlanded 2-1. It's not going to happen again here, guys. Tom Aspinall is going to hit the chin of Arlovski, and he's going to hit it often, and he's going to hit it hard, and Arlovski is going to fall. I think Aspinall, inside the distance, Aspinall by knockout in particular, is almost a lock, and that's the way I'm looking here. I think Aspinall by knockout is pretty much what's going to happen. I don't see a path to victory for Arlovski. I don't think he can win a decision. I think Aspinall's going to be in his face. I don't think he's going to let him recover. Outside of a prayer from Arlovski, I don't think he has a shot in this one. Even if he does rock Aspinall, I don't think he gets to win. Yeah, this is Aspinall all day. I think he's a fine parlay piece as well. But definitely take a shot at the knockout prop. I think maybe even round 1. Maybe round 1 or round 2. But I like round 1 knockout. Could get you some decent value there on him too if you just want to play him straight up. But definitely a good parlay piece in my opinion. All right, moving right along, we got Phil Hawes versus Nasruddin Imavov. This is a tough one, guys. So this is one where, I think the line is appropriate. I think it's going to be a really close fight. Phil Hawes is one of those guys, though, that, he's got that crazy physique. He's jacked. Everybody's like, oh, my God, this guy's going to come in there and knock the lights out of this guy. I'm not high on those kind of guys because they have one path to victory, right? They're going to go for that knockout. They're going to go for it early. And if they don't get it, they have so much muscle to carry that they get tired, man. They gas out. Their muscles fatigue. They get all that lactic acid buildup, and they can't do anything. They can't swing with enough power. It's just these big clubs, but they don't have enough speed, enough power, enough quickness behind them to land, or much less even do damage when they do land. So it's like, if he doesn't get a knockout in the first round, I think Imavov takes this one easily. But that being said, Hawes does have that first round knockout power, and that's what he's looking for. But I feel like in these situations, when you go up against a really talented fighter and you're one of those big, knockout punchers, first round finishers, I feel like it never goes well for him because everybody's expecting that. And the other guy's hearing that shit too, and he's expecting that to happen, right? And so he's going to game plan for that. He doesn't want to go in there and get knocked out in the first round. He doesn't want to get knocked out at all, right? So he's going to game plan for that. He's going to say, all right, I'm going to be safe this first round. I'm going to feel him out. I'm going to let him throw. I'm going to tire him out, let him tire himself out. And then when it comes to the second, third round, I'm going to start, turning it up when he's slowing down, and I'm going to knock him out. I think that's pretty much what's going to happen here. I see everybody and their mother on Hawes. But, man, I got to tell you, I just don't see it. And, there was a little thing at the weigh-ins today where he kind of, he went to get up on the scale, and he, stumbled a little bit. He missed his first step getting onto the scale. And while that can be just, kind of a little nitpicky thing and not really a big deal, that does show a little bit of disorientation and lack of equilibrium. And that's kind of a big deal, especially when you're dealing with weight cuts and a guy of his frame where he's, jacked to the T, and every little ounce of sweat and water he is, trying to get out of there and retain as much as possible because he doesn't have that much room in his body. His muscles are just filled to the brim. It takes a toll on your system, and this is one where I think Imavov's going to get it done. I'm not high on these big power punchers. I think that if you're a technical, skilled striker, which I think Imavov is, I think that they, more often than not, will outpoint and outclass these guys, these big muscle puncher guys. And we saw it recently with Buckley versus DeChirico. DeChirico doesn't look like he could beat Buckley in a million years, right? But, Buckley goes in there, he starts swinging and gets a little loosey-goosey and starts throwing those bombs trying to knock him out. Just Chirico sits back, strikes technically, hits him with a head kick, knocks him out. I'm not saying that Imavov's going to knock out Hawes, but I think there's a pretty good chance. I'm going to go Imavov in this one. Not parlay or anything, but straight shot definitely might be worth it. I would look at Imavov by knockout as well, or Imavov inside the distance, because I don't think Hawes is going to be there after the first round. I really don't. I don't think that he has what it takes to go all 3 rounds. So he either gets a knockout in the first round, or Imavov steals this and probably knocks him out in the second or third. All right, Chris Daukaus versus Alexei Olynyk. Try to speed it up here. I got Daukaus in this one. I think Olynyk, obviously, he's great ground guy. Ground and pound is great. The submission game is great. He has a good, overhand right that he throws. But yeah, Daukaus is a beast, man. He's got fast hands for a heavyweight. He's not going to be taken down easily. His brother Kyle's a really good submission jiu-jitsu artist, and I think, training with him and, expecting them to have similar skills, which I really do think they do because they train at the same gym and they train together a lot. I think he's going to be able to survive against Olynyk if he gets it down, and I don't think Olynyk's going to be able to get him down. I think this is one where Daukaus comes in there and it's probably a stand-up fight, and he either knocks him out or it could go to a decision. if Alexi's, trying to be safe. But I don't think Alexi gets him down and submits him, and that's really his only path to victory. So give me Dawkins in this one. That could be a parlay piece too, depending on how confident you are in him. All right, Rosa versus Minner. Charles Rosa, 13-4. Derek Minner, 25-11. This seems like one they're trying to get a win for Charles Rosa here. Charles Rosa is very hard to submit. We saw Bryce Mitchell try to twister him a couple times. He's a tough kid, and he had that neck surgery. He hasn't. His first 2 fights back since that haven't gone his way, but this one should. I think Derek Minner's going to be live in the first round, but after that, I think Charles Rosa is going to take over, probably get a 29-28 here, or a late submission. I'm not sure if it's a parlay piece, but I think Charles Rosa inside the distance is probably a good bet. Or even if you want to go inside the distance or under whatever the rounds are. I don't know if it's 1.5 or 2.5, but it might be a good play to go under 2.5 if that is the case, and it's a decent juice on that. But yeah, give me Rosa in this one. I think they're setting him up for a win here. All right, next we got Caitlin Vera versus Yana Kunitskaya. Pretty cut and dry. Vera did miss weight by a couple pounds. I think she missed by 3 pounds, maybe 3 or 4. But I don't think it's really going to matter here. I think that Caitlin's going to go in there and get it done, especially, she's forfeiting some of her purse. She's pissed about that, I'm sure. And, she actually is going to be carrying more weight into this fight, I'm assuming. And she's going to be the bigger girl. Got great striking. I don't really see a path for Yana. Maybe she can get her down, but I don't think that she's going to be able to get Caitlin down. And even if she does, Caitlin has decent jiu-jitsu as well. Probably gets a submission there or gets back up to her feet. But yeah, I think this one's Caitlin Vera all day, although it's women's MMA, so parlaying might be a little bit risky, but I would say Caitlin Vera is probably safe in this one. But yeah, give me Caitlin Vera. You might even want to look inside the distance on that one. I think Caitlin Vera, she's underrated with her knockout power. I think that she could knock out Yana or get a TKO, All right, last fight of the night, Curtis Blaydes versus Derek Lewis. Now, this is the one, guys. This is the one I want you to listen to. I'll break this down more on my Patreon, but this is the interesting pick of the night, right? So Curtis Blaydes, 14-2, over minus 400 favorite right now to Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is 24-7. Here's the interesting thing, guys. Curtis Blaydes, wrestler, grappler. That's what he's going to try to do. He's going to try to get Derek Lewis down. He's going to try to just ride on top of him. Probably try to get a submission, get him out of there, or ground and pound. The thing with Derek Lewis is he's a big boy. And not that Curtis Blaydes isn't, but Derek Lewis is a big boy. And trying to get him down to the ground is not the easiest thing in the world. Lewis does not have the best, get up game. He doesn't have the best technical grappling. But he does have, kind of that fuck you grappling where he just pushes guys off him and decides to get back up. He just stands up, Not that I'm saying he can do that necessarily against Blaydes, but I think Derek Lewis is going to be a much tougher opponent to try to take down than Alexander Volkov was. And in the Volkov fight, in the 4th and 5th rounds, Volkov, Blaydes was slowing down, and Volkov was able to catch him, man. He rocked Blaydes, too. He almost pulled off that win, and, part of me is just wondering, if he's not able to get Lewis out of there in the first couple rounds, and all the energy he's going to expend trying to get Lewis to the ground and maybe submit him, it's like, that's a lot of energy, and we know Blaydes gasses in a 5-round fight. And we know Lewis carries his power into those later rounds, and he conserves energy better than almost any heavyweight, especially at his weight. And not to mention, this is a guy that's been losing weight. He is back up at 263 for this fight, but that is a tactical move because he does not want to be taken down by Curtis Blaydes, and he wants to make him work for it. And the more weight that you have to try to get down, the harder it is for that person, especially when they have a decent takedown defense like Derek Lewis does. And he's just a big dude. Like, it's hard to get your arms around him and take him down. So I guess you guys can kind of tell the way I'm leading here. But I really, really think this is where we see Curtis Blaydes get knocked out. We saw it against Ngannou, right? I'm not saying Derek Lewis is a Francis Ngannou, but I am saying that Derek Lewis is damn hard to get down. And he has pretty freaking crazy power. These guys been constantly improving and working on his game. He knows the flaws, he knows the holes in his game, and he's been working on them. And we've seen that improvement, especially in his striking. He's throwing these wheel kicks and these flying knees and flying head kicks. It's crazy what this man can do at 263 pounds. And he's accurate. And man, Ilir Latifi is the one fight where it's like, okay, he was able to take him down and keep him against the cage and kind of grind him out. But, Lewis won that fight and he was able to rock him too. And that was only a 3-round fight, and Latifi was gassed, bro. And I thought that fight was close. I thought Lewis could have lost that fight, honestly. But, he was doing the damage, and if that went 2 more rounds, Lewis is knocking Latifi out. Not that I think Latifi is this great MMA fighter, but I think Blaydes is going to have a similar strategy to Latifi, and he's going to act in a similar way, and he's going to fatigue in a similar way. And I think that Lewis gets a knockout in this one. I think he knocks Blaydes out in the 4th or 5th round. If Blaydes is not able to submit him, Lewis will knock him out. And so, I think, I checked the props, the knockout prop for Lewis is kind of his only path to victory. And so the odds makers know that, and they have it priced similarly to, it's not too much more juice if you take him by knockout versus taking him just straight up. But I do think Derek Lewis by knockout is a very, very live prop in this fight. More live than all the other gurus and fight analysts I've seen predicting this fight. Everybody thinks Blaydes is just going to, run through him, take him down, grind him out, ground and pound, submit him probably early, or grind him to a 5-round decision. I don't think that's possible. I don't think that Blaydes can get to a decision with Derek Lewis. I really don't. So I think he either submits him early or Lewis survives, Blaydes gasses, and Lewis knocks him out. Straight up. So I'm going to make the bold prediction. I'm going to go with Derek Lewis by knockout. I'm not super high on Curtis Blaydes. I don't think he's that good of a fighter, honestly. And if it wasn't for his crazy wrestling pedigree, he probably wouldn't be where he is right now. So, yeah, give me Derek Lewis in this one, guys. I'm going to go with the underdog, the big dog in this one, in the main event. I'm probably not going to bet. I'm not going to parlay it. I'll probably throw a little something on Lewis by knockout because I do think that is the more likely way that this is going to go. However, if you are on the Blaydes side, I don't hate you. I think the whole world is on the Blaydes side. I think that it is perfectly, reasonable to expect him to go in there and grapple Lewis and submit him. I don't think a decision is that reasonable, so don't take Blaydes by decision, please. If you're going to take him by TKO or submission, or actually just inside the distance is probably a good way to go about it. But yeah, I can't back the Curtis Blaydes train here. I just can't do it. I think he's gotten lucky a couple times now where he's gotten to that decision and he's been gassed and he's been getting rocked in the 4th and 5th rounds, and it's like, at some point your time's going to be up. And against a guy like Derek Lewis, it might be up. So yeah, give me the big dog in this one. I'm gonna ride with it. So yeah, give me Derek Lewis. Let's get it, guys. Good luck this weekend on your plays. I hope everybody makes some good money this weekend. Again, feel free to check out my Patreon if y'all want the full breakdown, my full breakdown of each fight and my exact bets. But yeah, other than that, have a great weekend. I'll catch you guys later, and deuces.